Uncle Ron stuff. I just got to tweak it a little bit. Oh, tweaked it the wrong way. Okay, Uncle Ron stuff. Today I'm going to talk about getting Ethernet into your house. And houses are not typically wired for Ethernet. And Ethernet is the fastest way to go to distribute internet inside your home. So what is one way to do that? And I'll try to talk about it. This is probably for somebody more do-it-yourself, but nonetheless I'll give you an idea of what you can do. And here's the key to it. I moved into a house and I had Cat 3 as a type of cable strung everywhere so that every room in the house had a telephone outlet. You could plug a telephone into it. And I don't use that kind of telephone anymore. I use, it's plugged in, actually I have a wireless, if you will, telephone system, and it plugs directly into the modem I got from Cox that provides telephone service for me. And it's a broadcast signal, and I have little handheld remotes everywhere like this that I get my telephone signal over. So I have all these wired telephone outlets in every room, and the cable for those all come back to one central location here in the basement. So if I don't need those cables for telephone, Cat 3 cable, which runs at time, it's not just the old 2-wire or 3-wire or whatever it was, and some homes have really old telephone cabling. But this was Cat 3 that has, I don't know how many wires on it, but a lot. You could support 2 different telephone circuits over this Cat 3 cable. Cat 3 cable will also carry Ethernet. It carries it, I think, up to a max of 1 gigabit per second. So I had cables run everywhere. I didn't need them for telephone, so I said, well, I'll use them for Ethernet. Now that does mean I had to swap out the connector at the outlet where a telephone goes in. They're not the same. The connections are different for a telephone than Ethernet, but it will fit in the same outlet. It is a different connector, and I needed to swap out the connector on the end where all the telephones wires came and were connected together. Sometimes on a pin board where just the wires, there's no connector at that end, it's just a long board, and you may see it in your basement. There's a long board and all these telephone wires come in and they get what's called punched down into this long strip of open terminals. I had to change that. I found out which outlets I wanted to use to route Ethernet to, and especially where I wanted my router was going to sit. I wanted to be able to plug in. It has 4 ports on the back of the modem. I wanted to be able to plug in an Ethernet cable to that so I could distribute directly off of the router to various locations in my house. So I didn't have to worry about Wi-Fi. I could plug the computer in. It was located in the basement, and that's in fact what I do here. I am setting on 2 computers here that are Ethernet wired directly to that modem through Cat 3 cable that was already existing in my home, that was the intended purpose for telephone, and I have repurposed it to run at least 1 gigabit a second Ethernet cabling. Okay, I think hopefully this makes sense. You can do that. It can be done. I guess electricians should know enough about data cabling, that's what we're talking about here, to be able to make that conversion for you. It's just replacing connectors on both ends and then making the proper connections to the modem, or what is called an Ethernet switch. And here's another issue, that you have 4 Ethernet ports on your modem, and there can be cases where you have multiple devices sitting right near your modem, and you have 4 Ethernet cables already plugged into it, but you need more. You had a printer plugged into it. You have your computer plugged into it. You have, I don't know what else it could be. It could be a lot of different devices. Everything is going to Ethernet or Internet. So you could use them all up. Well, you can get more ports if you buy what's called an Ethernet switch. And what it does is you can plug the input of the Internet switch into one of your router ports and immediately have up to 8 more Ethernet ports available to you. And that's how I can get multiple computers hooked onto Ethernet in any location in my house by using what's called a switch. It's a form of splitter, but it doesn't have the same terrible bad signal loss attributes that a normal CATV splitter has. Okay, so again, this is all about, you can get Ethernet in your house if it's already wired with Cat3 telephone cable, and you can repurpose it. Most people probably don't have telephones in every room, and they don't need it that way. But in certain locations, for instance, if you have an office, or multiple offices, or multiple workspaces, your wife has a computer in her studio, you have one in your office, you have, in my case, I have a setup down in the basement where you're seeing this is being produced from, is in the basement. It's not in my office, it's not in the studio, it's not in the living room, it's in a separate location that is 50, 60 feet from where the router located is. It's not Wi-Fi because it wouldn't work. It won't work that distance. And I'm setting on Ethernet, and I have a switch that's sending through an old repurposed telephone cable that I have converted over to Ethernet, and it sets here. In fact, I have a switch right here because I have one Ethernet line coming in, and I've now expanded it. I have 6 devices down here that are all attached to Ethernet through that switch. So one line is going from here all the way back to the router. It gets plugged directly in the router. From that router, it comes directly to here. I have 6 different Ethernet devices connected directly into it. I'm not using Wi-Fi. I have 2 computers, and I don't even know what else is down here. I have umpteen connections, so that's one way you can get Ethernet in your home, using the Cat3 cable that is already there for telephones. Now, you can do it yourself. You know enough. Changing over the connectors to Ethernet connectors is not a big deal. You probably have to buy a small kit and figure out what wires go to what connections and so on, but that's not a big deal. Or an electrician who knows data communications should be able and capable of doing it for you. Now, all I'm suggesting is you really only need it in certain places. If you have a home office, if you have, your wife has a different area where she does her computer related work, or you have a family room where your kids are sharing some computer or something like that, and you want to get a fast, reliable speed, then you'd only need to convert 3 outlets in those 3 spaces and repurpose them for Ethernet. But it is possible. I doubt most people are aware that you could use your old telephone system. Now, in the future, Internet is going to continue to get faster and faster. And I think even Cox now will offer you 5 gigabits per second download speed if you're willing to pay for it. The problem is, as soon as it hits your house, the cabling in your house doesn't support that speed. So you're not going to get the full benefit of 5 gigabit per second internet if you have the old style cabling in your house, or you have old style Ethernet cabling in your house. Cat3 is not going to support 5 gigabit per second transfer rates, but it will support 1 gigabit per second. And I'm telling you, it's way, 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 way faster and more consistent than trying to use Wi-Fi. Absolutely, positively. As an add-on to that, I live in a big house. I have 3 floors. I have an upper floor and I have a lower floor from where the modem comes in. I have visitors come all the time. They have iPads and iPhones. They do not get a reliable Wi-Fi connection if I only have my modem / router on the middle floor. Now you think that would be enough. It should work the top floor and it should work the bottom floor. And it does on the slowest possible Wi-Fi speed. They can get a signal, sort of. Okay. There is a solution to that too. And that's what you use what's called, I want to use the word expander. That's a hotspot. You can buy what's known as a hotspot. And it is a special device, and it is a wireless, and it broadcasts its own slow speed and 2 fast speeds Wi-Fi signals. Now, for them to work, they have to be Ethernet connected back to your router. Okay, and that's what I did here. I have one of those hotspots on the top floor, and I have one of those hotspots on my basement. The router, and it provides Wi-Fi signal for the main floor where the modem is established, or sets. But in my case, because the house is so large, I found the only way to properly cover Wi-Fi for the top, and people bring their laptops in and they can establish and get a good connection on the top floor using Wi-Fi, because there is a hotspot right there. Okay, same way in the basement. They all come in with iPads, iPhones, whatever, and there's no Ethernet ports they can plug into, and they cannot get a good signal from my Wi-Fi on my middle floor. So I have installed what's known as a hotspot on the lower level, and everybody is fine. And I'm talking, I can run 40 different Wi-Fi Ethernet-based computers, or whatever you want to call them, at the same time without any degradation. I can run that many at the same time, and I have before. I have a lot of people, some people have 3 or 4 different phones or laptops, and they're all on at the same time, and they're all using it. That's another aspect. If you're home, you should use your cell phone, and you can save the minutes and time and everything else if you switch it over to using the Wi-Fi you currently have in your home. You can save yourself some money on your cell phone and using updated charges and all that if you just switch your cell phone over to the Wi-Fi you have in your house. And there's a setting on your cell phone or your laptop or whatever it is to do that. I'm kind of rambling around and scrambling. All I'm trying to say is I can make you aware that the telephone cabling in your house is probably capable of being converted over to running Ethernet, which is a way better source of distributing internet signals throughout your home as opposed to Wi-Fi. And that Ethernet cabling, if you wanted to, would let you expand and put hotspots on the top floor, bottom floor, or even 2 on the same floor if it's a really huge house. So anybody and everybody who comes into your house can have fast, high-speed connection to internet. And believe me, you can put a lot of devices on the internet at the same time, and everybody can get fast response, and it does not drag down Cox Ethernet capabilities. You're only sending up at like 50 megabits a second. You're not sending up at a very fast rate. The down rate can be like 300, and that's way fast for most any application. They're only sending down a little bit of chunk at a time anyway. Enough. All I'm saying is you can use your existing telephone cable. If you don't use it for telephone, it can be repurposed to distribute Ethernet throughout your home, and that's way faster for all purposes. You may have to buy some switches to get, if you have multiple connections you want to make at one location, you would need what's called a switch there, so Ethernet comes in from your router and then it's distributed to 4 or 5 different devices. Can all be connected there, like in a home office or in a woman's home studio or whatever. The other attribute is you can add what's called hotspots, which would provide Wi-Fi to areas that are not currently being very well supported by your one location. That's enough today for this. Is Uncle Ron and Stiff, and this was about possibly repurposing the telephone cable that is run to your house for use with Ethernet. Now, most people, they only have one computer and all they do is email. It's not a big deal. That's not my case. My computers are running all kind of stuff all the time, back and forth over the internet, and I need a high-speed established connection, and I use Ethernet wherever possible. That's it for today, Uncle Ron stuff, and this had to do with repurposing telephone cable that's already installed in your house for use with Ethernet. It is possible. Get a data certified, whatever they're called, electrician, and he can sort it out for you. It's really a matter of swapping out connectors and maybe buying a couple switches, Ethernet switches, and maybe a couple hotspots if you really want to go full money on it and have a, and then you can run in all kinds of smart devices. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can put sensors everywhere, and you can have, Ethernet in your attic. It tells you what the temperature is, and you can connect up your clothes dryer. Our clothes dryer or washing machine is connected to the internet. It tells me when the wash is done. That's the world. The Internet of Things is coming. Everything will have internet capability built into it. Your car already has it. Your refrigerator is going to have it. Your TV has it. Your lights can be controlled by over the internet and your cell phone. So go ahead and prep yourself for it. But get Ethernet wherever you can. That's enough for today. Today is the 17th of June, 2025. I'm sorry these run long and I run them out too much, but that's me. I'm sorry.